Once upon a time, in a peaceful village nestled between rolling green hills, there lived a little boy named Max. Max was known throughout the village for his vivid imagination and love for storytelling. He was always coming up with wild tales and adventures to share with his friends. Max's stories were entertaining, but there was one problem. Max had a habit of exaggerating and sometimes outright lying. He couldn't resist making his stories more exciting, even when there was no need to. His friends soon began to notice, and their trust in Max began to waver. One sunny morning, Max decided to take his father's sheep to graze in a meadow not far from the village. As he settled down under a tree, he looked at the fluffy white sheep and thought, "What if I make up a story about a fearsome wolf? That would be so thrilling." Max began to shout,
"Wolf! Wolf! A big scary wolf is coming!"
Hearing the commotion, the villagers rushed to the meadow carrying pitchforks and sticks, ready to defend the sheep and Max. But when they arrived, all they found were sheep, peacefully munching on the grass. The villagers were puzzled, and one of them said,
"Max, there's no wolf here. You shouldn't make up such stories."
Max grinned sheepishly.
"Sorry, it was just a joke."
The villagers shook their heads and returned to the village, muttering about Max's storytelling habits. They no longer took his stories seriously. A few days passed, and Max was again in the meadow with the sheep. This time, he felt genuinely bored and decided to have some fun by shouting,
"Wolf! Wolf! A huge, ferocious wolf is coming!"
Once more, the villagers rushed to the meadow, their faces filled with concern. But once again, all they found were sheep, peacefully grazing. This time, the villagers were not amused. They scolded Max and said,
"Max, this is the second time you fooled us with your stories. We won't fall for it again. Stop lying."
Max felt embarrassed and apologized, promising not to do it again. The villagers left, shaking their heads in disappointment. But Max couldn't resist the temptation of making up stories. A few days later, as he watched the sheep, he saw something that truly startled him. A pair of real sharp eyes in the distance, glinting like fire in the sunlight. "A wolf!" Terrified, Max screamed.
"Wolf! Wolf! A real wolf is coming!"
But this time, when the villagers heard Max's cries, they didn't rush to the meadow. They remembered his previous lies and thought it was just another one of his tales. Max panicked as he saw the wolf drawing closer to the flock of sheep. He tried to scare the wolf away but was too small and scared to do much. The wolf pounced, and Max watched in horror as it snatched one of the sheep and disappeared into the woods. Max felt a deep sense of guilt and sadness. He had lied so many times that no one believed him when it truly mattered. He returned to the village, tears in his eyes, and told the villagers what had happened. This time, the villagers didn't rush to help him. They were disappointed and angry. One villager said,
"Max, we can't trust your words anymore. Lying has consequences, and now you must face them."
The village had lost a sheep, and Max had lost the trust of his friends and neighbors. From that day on, Max never lied again. He understood that lying not only hurt others, but also broke the trust that was so essential in any relationship. Max worked hard to regain the trust of the villagers. He became known for his honesty and reliability. Over time, his friends forgave him, and they grew to trust him once more. The village learned a valuable lesson that day, that lying, even in jest, can have serious consequences. They also realized the importance of forgiving those who truly learn from their mistakes and strive to become better. And so, dear children, remember Max's story when you're tempted to tell a lie? Know that lying can break trust, and no one believes a liar, even when they tell the truth. It's always better to be honest, for honesty builds trust, and trust is the foundation of strong and lasting relationships.